Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone, Season 3, Episode 6. It's called The Mirror. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. This sees a new, revolutionary, I suppose. Like someone who's just overthrown a dictator is now in charge. He's now... Did they ever actually say exactly which country this was? Or was this maybe kind of vague?
I think it was just, ambivalent.
Yeah, Central American vague country, okay.
Not Cuba.
I mean, let's be honest, the comparisons to Castro and, visually, if nothing else, was very on point here.
Yeah.
It's basically he's now in power, but the previous dictator on his way out tells him about the mirror in his office, and it's this magic mirror which will show you your assassins. So the episode is about him seeing his closest allies in the reflections, seemingly trying to kill him, which makes him retaliate and sort of take care of them first. And that's the premise of the episode, so we'll get into it. Tara, how did you feel about The Mirror?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty fun episode. I understand what they're going for here. Like, if you have a system where you gain power by assassinating somebody, like, who's to say that's not going to happen to you, and the paranoia that will cause. Is the mirror really showing him assassins, or is he just full of paranoia? It was fun.
Yeah, I like what it's saying. I think the message is strong. I mean, even taking out the specifics of, like, if this this society you get in power by overthrowing the previous one, it's going to happen to him eventually. Because you said, will it happen to him? I'd say it's almost a certainty. It might take a long time, maybe 20 years. Maybe he's in power for like decades, but it's eventually going to happen. Someone's going to take him out.
This is why the mirror universe in Star Trek doesn't really work, right? It's like the Shogun law of if you kill the person ahead of you, then you get to take their place. I think Klingons also do it.
It's like the villains led by Karl Urban in the Chronicles of Riddick. I can't remember what their race or species is called, but their motto was "You keep what you kill," and that was a big part. I've not seen that movie in a long ass time, but I remember that.
Yeah, or I guess like the Hollywood pirates kind of have that too.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Like, how are you not always paranoid?
So, but just the idea that once you're in power, you then become paranoid that someone will try and take that power away from you.
Yeah.
However, I will say the episode's only just okay, I think, and the reason for that is, I think, twofold. One, I feel there's a lot of like fluff and kind of extension of the idea, because there's a lot of monologuing and there's a lot of like stuff before we get to the idea. Even though I think the idea is really good, and then I do feel it's kind of one note once we have the idea. Like, it feels like it just so the first person he gets suspicious of, he has them killed. Then he's suspicious of these two other guys who are his closest allies, he gets them killed. Then there's the one closest ally left. And lo and behold, he eventually sees him in the mirror looking like he's going to try and kill him. And then he kills him too. And, like, I
like that the mirror shows you how they're going to kill you too. Because usually it's just they turn and they shoot their guns at him. But this last guy is trying to be deceptive, and he gives him a glass of wine.
Yeah. But of course, it turns out that he's not, because he actually, because after he's been shot and he knows he's dying, he's like, he tastes the wine. He's like, no, look, there was no poison. But it's before he was shot, because it wouldn't really mean anything if he did it after he was shot and he's dying already. It would be kind of meaningless. He's like, of course you'll take the poison now. Now he doesn't care. He's dying from the gunshot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also got a bit of a parable kind of in there, because at the end of the story, this priest comes to see him and says, you a year, because Rod Serling actually was very useful in this episode, because it has opening, like, not even narration, he's in the scene, the camera like goes across and he's in the corner. The opening speech he has in this episode actually has him like sort of give us some important backstory that, like, only a year ago, the idea, this guy, this new, revolutionary, he was just a farmer a year ago, and basically in the year since then, this is how long it's taken for him to build up, get a following, and then ultimately overthrow this dictator. And so the idea that this priest at the end is like, look, this new regime is that you're just executing people left and right. You're not trying anyone. Like, the people who are tried for murder are just being
he's only
executed.
been in power for like 15 minutes.
Yes, and he's killed so
everybody.
many people. Yeah, he's immediately become this paranoid, just obsessive, like, everyone must die. Anyone who might oppose me must die. so I appreciate that sort of parable. This kind of comes back to some previous episodes we've had where the idea is solid enough, but it's like, that could have been 10 minutes instead of 25. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it didn't.
It would have been harsh.
It didn't feel like it was dragged out to me. It felt like obviously the idea was just repeating itself. Like, he doesn't trust this person, now he doesn't trust this person, now he doesn't trust those people. But at the same time, it was still kind of fun to watch him like descend into his paranoid craziness and see how how he like plans to get rid of them, because he doesn't just like shoot them. Well, not all the time. Like, at one point he sends out 2 people to go check up on the guy he threw out the window, and then calls the prison and says, hey, when these guys get there, make sure you execute them. They're traitors.
Yeah, the first guy he actually just throws off. He sort of drags it onto the balcony and throws him off. And
pretty violent way to go.
And the rest of them are kind of on, tense after that. And one of them's like, I'm not, I don't feel good about this. He was no traitor. He was no assassin. He was like, our loyal friend who's been with us since the start of this. I almost wish it developed the characters a little bit more instead of just sort of like we could have.
I like the last guy.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, I did too. But I feel like you don't need to have as many examples as you do in this. You could literally have him do it the once, right? And then have it be a slow build to him turning on his closest friend after that, and it could just be the closest friend after. I don't know if you necessarily needed like 4 examples of him like killing people who are close to him. But I mean,
I liked how they all had nicknames though. Like, one was like the silent one. When we were introduced to them.
Well, I think that's the problem, that you've only got 25 minutes. It's these characters who are all introduced for the first time because it's a standalone story. There's only so much we can learn about like 5 or 6 characters in that time, and enough that we like. I mean,
sure. I mean, there are plenty of great examples of the Twilight Zone that has ensembles, and we know at least enough about them. Yeah, about that person for like when they do. Something does happen to them, are like,
this is true. This is true. But one of the things that aids those episodes, though, is that they're all wildly different people. They'll be different genders, races. They'll be dressed completely differently, to have completely different hairstyles. Whereas this episode, they're all in identical clothing, and they're all kind of militants. They're all. I think there's at least 2. Like, one of the guys there is actually very similar looking to the main guy. He's got like the beard, and like I'm like, you could have shaved his beard or something, maybe give him more of a goatee instead of the full beard, just to separate them visually, just one of those things.
And our lead guy is Columbo, Peter Falk, just FYI.
Really? I'll be honest,
our not Castro are definitely not Fidel Castro is Columbo.
So I don't know, I didn't really enjoy watching it that much. I like what it's saying, and I like the point that it's making, and the idea of the paranoid person in power who's suddenly questioning everyone around him, and he's losing everyone he's ever trusted because now he just doesn't see them anything other than potential competitors. And then that's kind of what the priest says at the end as well. He's like, because the priest actually name drops, like, is it the priest or is it Rod Serling? One of them name drops like a bunch of actual dictators at one point. Because
I don't remember which one.
Because what stuck out to me that I really liked about Rod's closing narration in this. In fact, this is funny because I'm not super hot in the episode as a whole, execution wise, but I really like Rod's opening and closing, because Rod's closing, there's a disclaimer that comes at the end of every movie, and I don't know if you've ever actually sat to the end of the credits and seen this, but you might have heard this be said at some point. Is that at the end of every movie, there's something along the lines of, every character in this is fictitious. Any resemblance to anyone living or dead is purely coincidental. Blah 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 blah. It's like just a legal disclaimer at the end of movies. And Rod actually does the opposite at the end of this, because any resemblance to any dictators living or dead is no coincidence. That's basically what he says. Like the whole point is this does resemble real people, because this is something that's a real problem. So I really like the mission statement of the episode. I just don't think it's a super enjoyable one to watch. Maybe just because I don't know if the character's ever really well defined enough beyond just the one thing. Maybe a bit more time about who he is sort of revealed throughout the episode, or about the relationship that he has. Because, okay, so this person that he kills by the end, right, who we just assume from process of elimination is his closest ally because it's the one they save for last. You never really actually get that journey throughout the episode where you see that they're that close, or it feels like you actually get a real sense of like how much he initially maybe means to him. And that's the sort of thing that would really elevate the eventual murder of him out of Paranoia.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
suppose.
So, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a home run either, but I did enjoy watching it, and I thought maybe it would be more problematic than I think it is.
Sure, I was actually thinking this during the episode, and as I was watching, obviously they're for the most part they've got accents, and I was kind of thinking, this is kind of in the time frame where they might have just had like white actors, and the thing is because it's in black and white, it's not necessarily always obvious. As obvious.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if it's not like the Spanish didn't come and totally take over that area of the world anyway. There are plenty of white people in like those countries.
I guess I was waiting for like it to do something. It never did. It's nothing I noticed. Someone who's actually from that part of the world might watch this and go, wait a minute, I can't believe they just did this, and someone can tell us that there was a line that's crossed here, but nothing stuck out to me. But that could be an experience thing more than anything else. It's okay. I don't have a whole lot to add about it. I feel like the idea is really solid, and the performance is not bad by any means. I just wish we got a little bit more of his character to actually get how much of a betrayal it is that he then suspects, who you assume is his closest confidant. But I don't know if it ever actually really assembles that. I don't think I really get the sense that it feels more connected to this guy that goes last than say the other 3 or 4 that go first.
Yeah, I don't really get that either. Like, I don't know if that's his closest friend at the end or if it's just the last of his friends.
I just kind of assume it is because that's narratively what it should be.
Well, I mean, that would be the person that he would like suspect the least to betray him. Yeah. So he must really be crazy if he thinks that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
I almost alternatively it could go more schlocky, and I'd have had more fun if the ways he sees himself being assassinated in the mirror were more and more elaborate and silly, because like you say,
I like the glass of wine one because we've had like
it was different.
The other ones were just they just turn and shoot.
Yeah, so it would almost be like someone walking towards him with a noose, and then I don't know, like because you'd always put a joke one, and I'm not saying they should have done this because it's an episode that wants to take itself fairly seriously, and that's okay. But I'm saying if you do a schlocky version of this, you can start getting really funny with it, where someone's walking towards the mirror with a stapler or something, or something silly.
It would be cool if they used like the environment of the room a little bit more, like they just grab something off the wall, or like like a Final Destination thing, like what else could you use to kill him in this room?
You could veer into like, okay, not normal weapons, but something we recognize as a weapon, like something from Cluedo, like a candlestick.
Or someone even threw him out the window. It would be fun.
How did they show that? Because we never actually see him die in the mirror. We only see the person coming towards him with the implement or with the object. So
they basically just turn around and either point a weapon at him or give him a glass of wine, which we assume is poisoned.
I suppose you'd maybe see the person like over at the window, sort of like motioning towards the balcony, like, "Come on out," kind of thing.
Or what if it's just like a mirror of like his new butler like giving him a plate of chicken or something, and he's like assuming like, how are you going to kill me with this plate of chicken, but actually he's just giving him food.
Yeah. So no, I mean the idea is completely solid. Just could have been, I think, worked into a more entertaining episode overall, I think, but I certainly no lack of points for concept and messaging, I don't think. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good one, but it's not like a great one.
So Rod, popped up at the end, of course, as he always does. He tells us about the next one. We get a Western one next time. He talked about, Westerns usually end with the shootout, out in the main sort of street. However, this is going to start with that, and we're going to be following, the loser, presumably, after death. So we're getting a bit of a supernatural Western sort of thing. Here's the description on IMDb. It's called The Grave. Old West lawman Connie Miller visits the grave of a man who he felled sorry, who he failed to track down to prove he was never afraid of him, but gets more than he bargained for.
And Lee Van Cleef is going to be in it.
Oh.
From the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh. Yeah, no.
And the Dollars trilogy.
Yeah. He's not in the first one, though, is he?
I thought he's in all three of them.
I don't remember him being in Fistful of Dollars. He's definitely in the other two. I don't remember him in the first one, though. It's been a while, though, so you very might well be right. Maybe he doesn't have the mustache in the first one, so that's why I don't remember him in it. Maybe it looks different.
He's definitely in it for a few dollars more, and he's definitely the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, of course.
He's the bad. He's Angel Eyes.
Yeah. No, he's definitely in a few dollars more. I remember him vividly because I like him a lot in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, that's what's coming up next time on the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I guess he's not in that. Well, maybe he is. He's in How the West Was Won also. Anyway, I'm looking. I guess he's not in that. He's only in the other two. Sorry. I screw up the your exit.
That's okay. I'm not even going to edit out the silence as I was waiting for you to read IMDb. I was going to leave it in.
It was for Angel Eyes. It's worth it.
All right. So there you go. That is the Twilight Zone episode 6 of season 3. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. Liking is super important. It is the easy and free way to support everything we do, and it helps us find more audience members and shows us that you want the content to keep coming. So please do hit the like button. It's really easy. Just to hit it. Just hit the button. Tara, why don't you tell them about Patreon?
Sure. If you are a fan of our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate as little as $1 per month, you will get bonus episodes for other shows we do, including the ACE, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, which is our science fiction movie review show. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to these episodes of The Twilight Zone 1 week early. So please go on over and check those out. Thank you.
Otherwise, catch us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates. But otherwise, that's us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.